Hello everyone and welcome to part 33 of my F1 Challenge career mode, and today we are going to Malaysia for the Malaysian Grand Prix in Kuala Lumpur, and it is the finale. It is the time to win the World Championship. To win we need to finish first. If you finish second we'll be out, and we need Michael Schumacher to finish third or lower if we win. So this is going to be a really difficult race, but I hope that we can win, as I'll hand you over to the commentator.
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Michael Schumacher is running away with the Drivers' Championship. The McLaren driver, second. Mika Häkkinen, third. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. McLaren are running away with the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari are second. Williams are third. Located approximately 80 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur, the modern Sepang circuit combines two notable straights of slow and medium speed turns. This dedicated motorsports facility is the first of a new breed of circuit capable of housing over 100,000 spectators.
Right, so we jump into practice, where it was raining in the first practice and my pace in the wet and on heavy fuel wasn't that good. Michael Schumacher has set a 1:49.3 and I think I was in the 150s, but I just want to show you this bit of a scuffle I had with Pedro Niz. I actually made contact with his rear wing because there's a really nasty bump on that corner. But then later on in the session I went for a low fuel time. You see on my split that I'm nearly 3 seconds up on my previous time. And as I went across the line, you see my old teammate set at 46.8 in the Williams, we set at 46.4, but unfortunately it never went dry. It was still pretty damp and I had to run intermediates the whole time. And then the other practice session, then later on in that practice session, it rained and it was monsoon tyres for the entire session until qualifying, which turned out to be wet again. So unfortunately no dry running, because I think I'm better in the dry. But we're here on our first flying lap in qualifying, and let's see what time we can do. We're on the wet tyres and we've set a 1:49.5, so let's see where that gets us. But then on the next lap Michael Schumacher's beaten us at 1:49.1, and we've done a 1:49.1 as well, with was that 18 hundredths of a second behind him, so that's an insanely close time. But it actually dried out later in qualifying, but my pace was absolutely nowhere. I'd stuck a wet setup on it and I just forgot to take it off really, and I was so slow. The car was feeling like a bus, as Ricardo Zonta in the PAR does a 1:40.8 and we're down in the 1:44s, so that's absolutely terrible. So I realised that I'm going to wait a bit. You see that I'm weaving in frustration, and on my second to last lap I just run wide and then have a spin going off the curb. Michael Schumacher's at 1:38.0, but we've got absolutely no pace, and I was really struggling to find why. I think the AI have a lot of grip in these kind of damp conditions. It never fully dried out. But then later on in the session, you see that I did that early in the lap, and then I went and span on the final corner going on to my possibly final lap. I can only do one more lap, and then going to the end of the first sector, 1.3 seconds up, but we've run wide, and that's completely ruined any chances of a good qualifying. So this is an awful qualifying, as I'll now hand you over to the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Malaysia for the final round of the 2000 FIA Formula One World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Häkkinen was consistently faster than his teammate. He starts first. Rubens Barrichello, second. Michael Schumacher consistently outpaced his championship rival, the McLaren driver. Ralf Schumacher, fourth. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, fifth. Trulli, sixth. Button, seventh. Heidfeld, eighth. Jacques Villeneuve, ninth. Alexander Wurz, 10th. Pedro Diniz, 11th. Eddie Irvine, 12th. Jean Alesi, 13th. Zonta, 14th. Marc Genet, 15th. Fisichella, 16th. Johnny Herbert, 17th. Mazzacane, 18th. De La Rosa, 19th. The McLaren driver, 20th. Sarlo, 21st. Verstappen, 22nd.
So here we are then, down in 20th place. That qualifying could have cost us the championship, but we're going to look forward in this race as we have the lights. And we are going, it's the right start, but there's a stall. Benetton have crashed straight into it. Okay. At this point, I decided to just restart the race. I'm not having any of that, because that would have been a ridiculous ending just to go straight in the wall after, like, what, 4 seconds? So here we are on the grid again, waiting for the lights. And we've got lights here in Kuala Lumpur. And we are going. That Benetton hasn't stalled us again as we come off the grid. We've made a good start, and it looks like all the cars have slowed down a bit when they were getting back on the racing line. We're up to 14th already before we even reach turn 1. We're going down the inside of many cars. We're going to fit in between the Prost and the Jordan. We're going to go around the outside of Heinz-Harald Frentzen in turn 2, and then we're going to flick out from the underneath of Jenson Button and get him as well. And then maybe on the drive out of turn 3, we're going to get Jarno Trulli. So we're up to 5th after just 2 corners from 20th. That's an amazing start. We've got Michael Schumacher, our championship rival, in front of us as we go into the end of sector 1. We're going to go down the inside of him, and we have made it up into 4th place. So that is a stonking start there. I wasn't expecting anything like that. I expected a really difficult race ahead. I thought that I'd have the same kind of problems I had in qualifying. But you'll see that when they were all going to the racing line, they did slow down a bit. But then down into turn 1, I just went down the inside, and I found a gap between the Prost and the Jordan to slot myself in. Then I went round the outside of Frentzen. Then I ducked from the underneath of Jenson Button, who had a very good qualifying for once. And then went round the outside of Jarno Trulli's Jordan and went to hunt after Michael Schumacher, so that after 3 corners I was already up by my championship rival and went down the inside, and I passed him with ease. As we now have my old teammate in front of me, Ralf Schumacher, and then my teammate, and then Rubens Barrichello is leading this. We're coming up to the end of lap 1. We're going to slipstream Ralf Schumacher. Can we get him into the last corner, the very long hairpin? We've got the slipstream, we've got the speed, and we go down the inside. We've got the braking confidence, and it looks like my teammate's actually attacking Rubens Barrichello up front. So we're just going to stick on board here, because it looks like it might get a bit feisty between those two. We might be able to catch that second gap back up and then past them. We've got 13 laps of fuel on board, so we've got a pretty decent amount of fuel. As you can see, that Michael Hakkinen and Rubens Barrichello are side by side through turn 1, and then into turn 2. Looks like Michael Hakkinen has actually taken the lead from Rubens Barrichello. We're now going to slipstream Rubens Barrichello into the end of the first sector. Can we pass Rubens Barrichello? We're not quite catching him up yet, but we are now. We're going to go down the inside, the end of sector 1. We're going to go all the way down the inside of Michael Hakkinen. We nearly make contact. He runs off the track. Are we going to get the position round the outside? Yes, we do. Now, many of you will say that that was either contact or just a huge dive bomb, which was not needed and looked a bit unprofessional. But I'd never even made a single bit of contact with Michael Hakkinen, because we will look at the replay cameras to see, and he ran off track when he didn't really need to. And also, if this was real life, to be honest, there would still be team orders to Mick Hakkinen was out of the championship. But you'll see here that Mick Hakkinen turns out of the corner to let a gap for me appear, and then I took the lead of the Grand Prix after just 2 laps from 20th place on the grid. So that's just sensational. And then moving on to lap 4, I'm actually opening up a gap to Michael Hakkinen, something I was really surprised about. The Ferraris have slightly less fuel, or more fuel consumption, than the McLarens, so they won't be going as long as us. But as I've been saying that, my championship rival Michael Schumacher is on the move, going down the inside of his brother at turn 1. He has taken him for 4th place, and he's now hunting after his teammate Rubens Barrichello, who he gets, I think, on the next lap. Actually, he's straight down the inside. That kind of looked like a team order kind of move, but I know that isn't actually in the game mechanics, so it's impossible. But you'll see here on lap 8 now, Mick Hakkinen is some 3.5 seconds behind, but you'll see that Michael Schumacher has now taken him for 2nd place. So at the moment, if it was to finish in these positions, I wouldn't win the World Championship. So Mick Hakkinen needs to step up his game. But as you can see me in the foreground, you'll see that Michael Schumacher went down the inside of Mick Hakkinen, kind of cut across the corner a bit, and then banged wheels with Mick Hakkinen and actually made contact with him as they went down the main straight. Rubens Barrichello just hanging straight behind, as Michael Schumacher wants to take 2nd place, which would give him the World Championship. As he goes into turn 1, he goes down the inside of Mick Hakkinen. They're going to run side by side through turn 1, and Mick Hakkinen kind of gives up on the outside. I was really surprised when I watched the replay back about that, and Michael Schumacher's up into 2nd place. However, moving on to lap 10, you can see that Michael Schumacher has cut the gap down to me. Obviously, he was on the lower fuel and he was probably the fastest guy this weekend, to be honest. In the recent weekends, Michael Schumacher has been far and away the fastest driver in the entire pack. But he pits on lap 11 then for his first stop. I don't know whether he's doing a 1 or 2 stop. Looking at Ferrari, it's probably a 2 stop. So that gives us an advantage at least, because we are planning on doing just the 1 stop halfway through this Grand Prix. As Michael Hakkinen is some 5.6 seconds behind me now. I stretched up that gap quite a lot, but he is now pitting on lap 14, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out, as he actually came out ahead of Michael Schumacher, which was really surprising. But here on lap 14, things unwind, as I decided to pause to check their other strategies to see where Michael Hakkinen was. I was in a championship winning position when I just ruin the entire championship by unpausing on Michael Hakkinen.
It's been a scintillating Malaysian Grand Prix. Let's take a look at the final results. Michael Schumacher first. Hakkinen second. Schumacher third. Rubens Barrichello fourth. Heinz-Harald Frentzen fifth. Villeneuve sixth.
So there are the results. Michael Schumacher wins the race. My old teammate gets third place, so pleased to see. Now, when that crash happened, I was in shock. I mean, I sent out a few tweets about it. I couldn't believe that happened, because I tried pressing the restart button, but I must have pressed the wrong button, and it, of course, just went straight to the results screen. But that was a genuine mistake. I just unpaused it on my teammate because I wasn't thinking 100%, and I was in a championship winning position. But next season I'll be moving to BAR, which I hope I can get a good few results. I don't expect the same kind of pace from McLaren. But we're now going to take a look at the drivers' standings.
With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher wins the 2000 FIA Formula One World Drivers' Championship.
So as you can see, Michael Schumacher has won the World Championship by 15 points. Michael Hakkinen only finishing 4 points behind us in the end, because obviously got a second place when we DNF'd. But that was an honest mistake by me, and I tried restarting the race, trust me. But obviously once it was ended, I couldn't change anything, so I was stuck on the results screen. I was stuck on the results screen for a good 10 minutes actually, because I was just overwhelmed by the crash. But we finished second in the World Championship, so I think we can be pleased with the entire season. So I'll hand you over to the constructors.
McLaren win the 2000 FIA Formula One World Constructors' Championship.
So there is a consolation prize then. We have won the Constructors' Championship by 13 points. I think we can be really proud of the championship season. I mean, there were a couple of races where Michael Hakkinen just drove straight into the back of his pit stop, which you could argue is my fault, because I should have just changed the strategy around a little bit. But yeah, we've won the World Championship by quite a clear margin, so I think we can be proud of that. Williams, our old team, finishes third, and our new team finished sixth that season, but I'm hoping for a better season next season. As we say goodbye to McLaren, goodbye to Michael Hakkinen. David Coulthard will come back to McLaren, and we are going to say hello to British American Racing, or BAR, and I'm hoping for a good season next season, and one with more consistent uploads. But I want to thank you all for being with me this entire season. There will be a montage out soon, and my 1K Q&A, which has just taken ages to do. But I'll say goodbye.